All right, it's the TexAgs High School Football Show, Week 3 version. Ryan Brauninger and Jason Howell of the TexAgs recruiting team here with you on a Wednesday afternoon. If you're watching this, it's going to be on a Thursday. Hope you guys are watching. If you're not watching on the site, hope you guys are enjoying it on YouTube. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to TexAgs subscribe to TexAgs YouTube channel, and leave a comment below. It helps with the algorithm as we continue to try to grow our YouTube channel as a company. But Jason, another fun week on the high school gridiron. Some really impressive wins. Two long streaks broken. Both happened in the DFW area. And before we get into our games, I guess let's start there because those were historic streaks that were, ended this weekend. Allen loses at home to Atascocita, and then Denton Guyer knocks off Denton Ryan. Denton Ryan, who had won 60 straight regular season games. And I believe the Allen record goes all the way. It's a regular season winning streak, goes all the way back to 2011, I believe, and they haven't lost in their new stadium at all. And it was their first loss there at Allen Eagle Stadium. So did either one of those surprise you more than the other?
I think the Allen one probably surprised me a bit more. That one, Atascocita, to their credit, they came in there and, they handled business and ran away with it. Were able to pull away for a big win. But, Ryan and Guyer, we knew that one was going to be back and forth. It's been a real close game over the last several years anyways. And, it took extra period, man, to get it done. And, it was both super talented teams, and you got that crosstown rivalry there that even intensifies it even more. So, that one wasn't, it was unexpected, but it definitely doesn't surprise. But yeah, Allen Atascocita, I thought that one was going to be a much closer ball game. I knew Allen had some hiccups in the against Plano East, but they still have talent and look like they're gonna, they had a chance that they're going to be a title contending team, and to see them, against Atascocita is also a good team, come out like they did. It was a bit more surprising for sure.
Yeah, I think the story with those two games is not the streaks that ended, but more so the teams that ended those streaks. I think me seeing Atascocita in week 1, they blew the doors off of Klein Collins, and it's really hard to tell kind of how good Klein Collins is. I mean, they're a solid program in North Houston, but obviously not the state power that Allen is. And then for them to go up there and really run away with it the way they did, behind a great performance by Gavin Session, their quarterback, Chase Sowell, a receiver who's traditionally been recruited as a baseball player, but now through 2 weeks of the season, has seen his stock just explode on the football side because of the 2 games he's had. Keith Wheeler at wide receiver, obviously the offensive line anchored by Cam Dewberry and Nate Kibble. That Allen team is, that kind of win, Jason, that puts North Shore and Katy on notice of, hey, this isn't just going to be some kind of walk through Region 3 down here.
Well, and I think Atascocita has been one of those teams that people have been watching over the last few years for sure. But yeah, Allen's got talent. I look for them to rebound and continue to build. This is still early in the Chad Morris era. So I do look for things to pick up, and he does have a ton of talent there in Allen. But this is that was a big statement for sure. And people around the state, if they weren't paying attention, they are now.
Yeah, for sure. So let's go and let's review kind of the games we were at. I'll start. We typically start with you. I want to start with mine because I only saw one game. I went down to Del Mar Stadium, right in the center of Houston, and caught Houston Lamar hosting the Woodlands A&M commit Martrell Harris. The story of that game were their 2 defenses. They really kept both sides in it. It was close. It was a tight affair. Martrell Harris was fantastic on the evening. I talked about him extensively on TexAgs Radio, just how impressed I was with him. A kid that was coming off of a season-ending injury last year, really shined in the camp setting in the offseason. Came to an A&M camp, and apparently from everything we heard, like a private workout, blew the doors off of that, and was super impressive on Friday night. Had a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. Also had a one-handed interception to put the game on ice. Woodlands really struggled on offense. Mabry Mettauer had to get some things going with his legs. But it was a credit to the Houston Lamar defense. They were causing problems with their scheme up front. A lot of guys being turned loose by the Woodlands offensive line where it was just kind of assignment errors. But the Woodlands grinded and battled, and they looked really good on offense in week 1. And it was a shootout. And then in week 2, kind of took a step back. And so this week they go and they've got to play against a really talented Bridgeland team and Connor Wigman. So that should be fun if they get their offense humming back like they had at week 1. Should be a lot of points scored in that one. And it'll be really interesting to see how Marshall Harris and that defense chase around Connor Wigman. So 17-7 win for the Woodlands. They moved to 2-0 on the year. And really kind of one of my dark horse teams in Greater Houston that could maybe upset in a Atascocita, Katy, or a North Shore as we get into the playoffs.
Well, I tell you what, it's been fun to watch Martrell put together a few games. That's always been the big question, with him. It never was his athleticism and what he could do. I mean, we saw at that camp just he passed his eyeball test and how athletic he was, and to see him really be able to string together some games and get some tape, that's huge for him and his ranking.
Yeah, he's going up. He's going up.
Yeah, for sure.
We put a lot of good faith in him because we'd seen him, and we've heard so many good things about him. But now that he's putting the tape to all that kind of good faith, I think he's going to get a bump up in our ratings in our next update for sure.
No doubt. And talking about a guy that we both think is due for a bit of a bump, Hunter Erb, Hazlitt Eaton. I got to see him on Thursday night, 47-0, win over Mansfield Legacy. And Legacy was outmatched from the very beginning. Eaton, while Hunter Erb did not play the entire game, he was slowed by ear infection. He's been on antibiotics and stuff throughout the week. Didn't practice a whole lot throughout the week, and only played about half the game. But we got some highlights up where he's dominating from the minute he was on the field till he decided they decided to pull him off. But another big impressive performance by Hunter Erb, and tight end target in the 23 class, Jaden Platt was the leading receiver for Eaton. Showed his ability to catch and run after the catch. So got in the end zone, and big 6'5", 225 pound tight end that really caught the eye of Coach Coley this summer. And then I got to get out to Duncanville to see Duncanville top South Oak Cliff 42-27. And Duncanville got out early and really separated. But I got to commend South Oak Cliff for their fight in this one, man. They could have folded. They made it a 15-point ball game and had a legitimate chance to win it there in the final 5 to 8 minutes. They were a first down or two away from really putting Duncanville on ice. And but a lot of talent in that ball game. Omari Abor is a big target. I wanted to check out. He's fighting through some injuries, got some ankle issues, working through a shoulder deal, but he was able to, he's so twitchy and fast, and you see it, coming off that edge. He's definitely one of the top players in the country, and showed it throughout the game last week. But all in all, big game. Saw some big performances, and a guy that we're going to have to put on our radar in 2024, Jamari Cawley. He's a receiver for South Oak Cliff.
Is his nickname Wild Man?
Wild Man, absolutely.
That's awesome. It's a great nickname.
They don't call him Jamari either. Like they go Wild Man. That's oh, you looking at Wild Man. Okay, gotcha. Like that's what it is. It's so he picked up his first offer from SMU. He's a receiver right now, but look for him to be a defensive end prospect over the next few years. He's a big athlete, ran away from a fast Duncanville secondary a couple times. So definitely a guy to watch down the line.
Well, I guess we'll turn the page now to week 3. Some really intriguing matchups across the state, Jason. I'm actually headed to Denver. Had this planned out for a while. I didn't know that the week 3 slate across the state was going to be this good. But I'm headed to Denver to watch A&M play, so I won't be on the road. We are sending David Sandhop will be out. Walker Lott will be out. Obviously, you will be out. But as I'm looking through this schedule for this week's games, let me just go through some of these. Cedar Hill at Allen. Midland Legacy at Arlington Martin. North Shore at Spring Westfield. Katy at Dickinson. Bridgeland, the Woodlands, we went over. Lake Travis, Rockwall. These are some really good games. I know locally, Converse Judson is coming to A&M Consolidated. Converse Judson, who beat DeSoto, then played Lake Travis, coming in and making the drive over from San Antonio. We're going to have some people there to get a good look at Johnny Bowens, their talented 2023 defensive end who A&M really likes. A&M Consolidated kind of been, lighting up the scoreboard. Competition hadn't been the best through 2 weeks, so they'll really get a test against Converse Judson to see where they stand. But this slate, man, where are you going to be, Jason, in some of the games you're looking forward to up there in the Metroplex?
Well, right now I'm looking at that North Forney Fort Worth Brewer game. Possibly get a look at Bear Alexander, and you got Jordan Johnson Rebel, 2024 cornerback that A&M's offered, both for Brewer. But North Forney's always been a strong, punch in the mouth type of team, and so it should be a pretty strong matchup there. Looking forward to seeing what happens there. If I can't make it out to that one, I'm looking at that DeSoto North Crowley game as a possibility too. So, but right now it looks like I'll be at North Forney Brewer.
Could Rockwall or Rockwall Heath, both of them look like they're very, very good again this year. Are they a sneaky state title pick for you?
Oh, definitely. Their offenses are just as explosive as you'll find around the state. They can put up points with anybody. They've got great quarterback play. Josh Hoover at Heath is a baseball guy as well. He's committed to Indiana for football, and he's been a starter since his sophomore year. Braden Locke at Rockwall is another guy. Been a starter since his sophomore year. Locke's headed to Mississippi State there. So, I mean, they have senior led quarterback play on offense. They put up a ton of points, a ton of yards. They have weapons around them. Defense has always been kind of the sticking point with those teams. They get in track meets, and if they run up against a South Lake Carroll or a Lake Travis, which we'll see Rockwall play this weekend. I mean, those track meet games haven't gone their way deep in the playoffs, and if they can get over that hump and get the key stop they need, both of those teams are threats.
Yeah, I saw. Was it Heath that really should have beat South Lake Carroll last week? Right, went down to the wire. Carroll made some kind of furious rally, but Rockwall Heath seemed like they were in control of that game for the majority of it.
Absolutely, yeah. It took them, like you said, it took pretty much a miracle, play, to kind of keep South Lake in the win column there. So they had to make a furious comeback, and they were able to pull through. But Heath, those two teams they've been on the board for a while, and you just look at, like, we talk about Rockwall Heath. I mean, you got Jay Fair, you got Jordan Neighbors, you got Zach Evans. Those are 3 Division I playmakers, like that at some of the area's best that are all right there, weapons for that ball team, and they're capable of beating anybody on any given Saturday. So, or Friday night. So it should be fun to watch both of those teams. You can never count them out, that's for sure.
Let me give you a sneaky good game in Greater Houston. C.E. King and Ridge Point. Now, C.E. King as a program, and Jason, you came and you saw their facilities at the Under Armour underclass games
Yeah.
back earlier in the spring.
Top notch.
Top-notch
Absolutely.
facilities, and it's located in a really interesting spot because they're between North Shore and Humble. Like they're in that northeast part of Houston where there's a lot of really talented kids, obviously, in that Humble ISD, Atascocita being great. North Shore, we know the juggernaut that they are. So it's in a really interesting spot. CE King's off to an undefeated start so far this year. Van Wells, the offensive lineman, who we both really, really like. I think Louisiana Lafayette got a steal there. They had Dylan Spencer, the talented defensive end, who's got offers from just about everybody, move over there this offseason. And then Ridge Point. Ridge Point beat Dickinson in a shootout last week, and they've got a lot of really good players. You talked about Rockwall Heath and just kind of how they keep coming at you offensively. Ridge Point behind quarterback Bert Emanuel. They got a giant mammoth offensive lineman going to Louisiana Tech and Calvin Harvey. Ezel Jolly, the running back. Marvin Session at wide receiver. They've got a lot of really talented players. Again, like the Woodlands, I'm putting Ridge Point in that category of, if you get them in the playoffs, I mean, Katy would have to sweat. North Shore would have to sweat. They've moved. They pushed Katy, what was it, 2 years ago in 2019? I believe, it was because John Paul Richardson had a huge night, returned opening kickoff for a touchdown. That's a program in Ridge Point that I think gets overlooked a lot in that Fort Bend ISD because of the success of Fort Bend Marshall maybe. But keep your eye on Ridge Point, man. If they go and beat a really talented CE King team, move to 3-0, they may go undefeated in the regular season and be a real problem in the playoffs. Coach Lefevers, who came over there from Lamar Consolidated, does a great job with his entire program. So that's one that I've got my eye on. CE King, Ridge Point. I think the winner of that one potentially could be a very dark horse candidate to come out of Greater Houston and upset some of those big giants at the top. So I believe Walker Lott will be at Bridgeland versus the Woodlands. Super excited to see that.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed that I'm missing that one. That facility, Wood Forest Bank Stadium there at the Woodlands, is one of my favorite places to cover games. We'll have, like I said, David Sandhop will be at Converse Judson against A&M Consolidated. Jason, remind us again where you're going this week.
It's looking like North Forney, Fort Worth Brewer.
Okay. All right. Well, there's our slate for did we leave anything out, Jason? Something you wanted to get to that I may have looked over?
I think we covered pretty much everything. It should be a great time. Great weekend for Texas A&M commits, like you said. Good to see Pilot Point be able to schedule a game. They were looking for one for this week after having to cancel last week. They got DeKalb. They're going to be at DeKalb at 7:30 on Friday. So that has been put on the schedule. So,
well, my trip to Colorado is sort of a vacation. I mean, I'm getting, obviously if TexAgs would need something from me while we're there, be able to do it, but it is sort of a vacation. But I genuinely am disappointed, even though I'm going to beautiful Denver, Colorado. I'm genuinely disappointed that I'll be missing out on Texas high school football this week. I love Fridays and Saturdays. I love going to games, man. It's one of my favorite parts of the job.
No doubt, man. Well, enjoy it though.
Yeah.
Take your time, enjoy it, and be ready to go when you get back on Monday.
All right. For Jason Howell, I'm Ryan Brauninger. That's the TexAgs High School Football Show. We'll see y'all next week.